Coming up next, Forecaster John Bordash goes over the latest forecast, timing of the winter storm, and impacts you can expect in southern Maryland and across the mid-Atlantic. Stay tuned. This live forecast begins shortly.
Winter weather looks to threaten southern Maryland on Sunday. As this system moves closer to our area, turn to JB Weather for continuing coverage.
Forecaster John Bordash will be providing around-the-clock coverage, providing the latest analysis, forecast updates, and live reports to keep you and your family ahead of the storm.
When winter weather strikes, JB Weather is providing winter weather coverage southern Maryland can count on. Brought to you by our sponsors, William Richmond Inc., Farmers Home and Auto Insurance, the Bob Koski Agency, R.E. Graves Heating and Air Conditioning, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, McNeil's Group Properties, the Charleston Senior Community, and Chesapeake's Bounty. Now, here's Forecaster John Bordash with a live forecast update.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Forecaster John Bordash with you this morning to give you the latest update here from the JB Weather Center. Let me get this squared away. There we go. And we are looking at the potential for winter weather to begin to move into the region over the next couple of hours or so. Walk with you through the latest timing. This is the latest look at radar. We'll bring it to a current view. Rain has pretty much overspread much of the area. And actually, if I can turn off the radar signature, I can actually, what might be a little better, let me switch things up a little bit. Here we go. This will allow you to see our temperatures right now. Temperatures, by and large, sit in the mid-40s for many of us, but we are starting to cool the atmosphere down. Areas north and west, up towards I-95 and northern parts of Charles, PG, and Arundel County have already started to cool down into the upper 30s. We see that evident here at Andrews, 39, over towards Fort Meade. We sit at 37. This number down here in southern St. Mary's earlier was 47, now 45. So temperatures are beginning to cool down. And it's because we're now looking at precip moving into the region. Our coldest time of the day typically occurs around 6 to 7 o'clock in the morning. So we still have a couple hours before we hit that point. And then the heavy precipitation rates will also allow for colder air to come down and allow for a switch over from rain to snow to happen eventually. Let me walk with you through the latest timing, then I'll get to my forecast I put out last night. Let me bring you up over here. This is going to be our... If I can get this. There we go. This is going to be our HRRR model. This model gets updated every hour. And as we push this forward here, this is going to be 4 o'clock in the morning, so it's not too far off from what we're currently seeing. We're starting to see some more impressive impressive precipitation rates move into the region. Snow falling to our south and west by 5 and 6 o'clock. It starts, and by this is 6 o'clock, but it starts to have a switch over to a period of snow. So you see this heavier band that looks to develop here, shown there by those brighter yellow colors. That would be indicative of that banding, and that would allow for colder air from the upper levels of the atmosphere to be transferred down here to the surface, and that would allow for snow to overcome the temperatures we have above freezing, which again, we'll talk about in a second. And do pay attention to these darker color blues. Those like deep navy blue colors represent more moderate to heavy snowfall. By 7 o'clock, it really starts to have that snow take over the region. By 8 and 9 o'clock, we see that evident through much of the region. Now, areas up along the water will have a hard time transitioning over, albeit I think you do transition over as well to snow. But that's because of those warmer bay temperatures. And that rain snow line hugging southern portions of Calvert and St. Mary's County, we knew that would be the case. And we'll see if that does indeed hold on. As we push Futurecast here from 9 to about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, it continues to show periods of heavy snow across much of the region. By lunchtime, by about noon, it starts to get everything out of here. It has a hard time trying to figure out the exact precipitation typing at this time. But I would expect, again, rain, snow showers to continue. Then about 1, 2, 3 o'clock, we see things kind of clear out. The snowfall totals that this model, this updated model puts down, generally, kind of falls in line with our forecast. I'm forecasting 1 to 3. This model shows maybe closer to 3 than 1. I'm not sure I buy that, but I would expect, again, a large area of 1 to 3. What is important to note is that this model, along with a plethora of other models across, I've been looking at all morning, do not show that band of 3 to 6 to the north and west, which I think is important to know. Bringing over here, winter storm warnings exist up along I-95, and that's probably where the highest totals will fall, but I wouldn't be surprised if that actually is not the case. In that 3 to 6 band, this is yesterday's forecast I made for today. A lot of people in that region are probably going to be closer to 3 than to 6. And I did mention that yesterday, and I think that is what we will end up seeing today. Locally, again, 1 to 3 for a lot of us. Northern areas, I'm probably closer to 3. So if you're in Dunkirk, Indian Head, over towards, let's say, Brandywine, Bowie, you're probably closer to 3 than you are to 6. And I would keep that in mind. But for much of like Southern Calvert, St. Mary's County, 1 to 2 inches, maybe up to 3. As we transition from rain over to snow, we could see a period of more moderate snow, and it will only take a couple hours of seeing snowfall rates of a ½ inch to 1 inch an hour to have this forecast verify. Another thing that's important to remember is that our atmosphere is not just what happens right where we are. There is a column of air that's about a mile high up into the atmosphere that dictates how our weather is formed. The atmosphere is a lot bigger than this, but our clouds typically form about a mile above the surface. And the surface is where we are, where you live and where everything happens. Clouds form below where planes fly. So again, this is only about 5,000 feet up into the air. So all the way up there, temperatures are almost always below freezing. So even in the middle of the summer, when we have 100-degree days, precipitation originally falls as snow. Now, when you get temperatures that are above 32, it will depend on how big that warm layer is. The thicker that layer is, the more time we have to melt that snow away to rain. What we have here today, it's going to be on your side, it will be the rightmost portion of this graphic, or the portion that's closest to me. That layer of warm air above 32 is very shallow. You don't have to head more than probably like 500 to 1,000 feet above our heads to find temperatures below freezing. That is not enough time to melt a snowflake to a raindrop. So what that will lead to is a heavy wet snow, but it will likely be snow when it reaches here after about sunrise. What we are seeing happen to areas down to the south and east, that warm layer is thicker. So the side of the graphic that's furthest away from me, and that thick warm layer allows for those snowflakes to then melt away to rain. So there's a lot to look at today, and this forecast is very dependent on what these different layers in the atmosphere do. If just one layer is too warm, then it's rain. If one layer is actually colder than we think, then we could be looking at more snow across the area. So that's going to be, I think, what we talk about today. Again, I think much of the region, a general 1 to 3. The further north and west you head, it's probably a little bit more. I think you'll see more in Mechanicsville than you will in Scotland. And I think you'll see more probably in Waldorf than you will in Mechanicsville. So that's kind of the general theme for today. So that is pretty much what we're talking about today. Another thing I do want to make sure I mention with our with this setup, let's bring you back over here to radar. So if I turn radar off, again, these are the current temperatures. Now what I'm going to show you are the dew points. And I know they can be a little difficult to see on the screen, but the air temperature at Pax River is 43. The dew point, which measures the amount of moisture in the atmosphere, is at 35. The dew point will never be higher than the temperature when both are the same number. So if both were 43, that means that the atmosphere is very saturated, and that means that we will be looking at, rain falling. The lower that number is, away from the temperature, that's more dry air we have. So our dew points currently sit in the middle 30s. What this means is that as we see rain fall into that atmosphere, it will want that temperature and dew point to meet. So that will bring our temperatures down as well. the dynamic cooling process. So we will begin, we've already seen our temperatures fall across the region, and that will continue to be the case. I think we will be looking at a transition to snow probably around sunrise. I see a couple comments saying that it's heavy rain through parts of the region, and we do see that showing up here on radar. I mean, we have those deeper greens and some yellows showing up across our region, and we are looking at snow beginning to break out to the north and west. If I put on current observations, snow is falling out towards Harrisonburg, out towards Winchester, I-81, and that snowline will continuously work its way eastward closer to our region as the day goes on. So I will continue to monitor that. But again, our latest modeling, I'll walk through it with you one more time. Let's bring it back. I want to bring y'all over here. All right, and if I bring you over here, there we go. Again, Futurecast does show a period of more moderate rain moving through right now, and that will help to cool the atmosphere. And what I want to show you even, I mean, if we look at the upper level temperatures, so these are temperatures that are literally probably about 5 degrees above our heads, or 5 degrees, about 500 feet above our heads. Right now, and this is in centigrade, so when you get these readings below zero, those are temperatures below freezing above our heads. These colors out here are temperatures probably more like mid to upper 30s. So right now, the air above our heads that we were talking about a little bit ago is above freezing. But as the precipitation rates pick up, as heavier precip moves in, you see that we cool that layer of the atmosphere down for most of us down below freezing. Maybe the southern tip of St. Mary's County, that won't be the case. But if we had it even higher in the atmosphere, below freezing, even higher up in the atmosphere, well below freezing. So a lot of our temperatures will be below freezing in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And locally here, if we bring this back, we look at 42, like the 40s to start with, and we see these temperatures gradually fall as we head towards sunrise, and that continues to be the case. So we have a lot of cold air up above our heads that can overcome temperatures that are only like 3 degrees above freezing. So that will be the story as we head into this later on this morning. So it will be a very busy morning. We will continue to track this. Again, my forecast does call for a general 1 to 3 for many of us. And I think that will really end up being the forecast. The areas, again, that I highlighted as a 3 to 6 zone, these areas are probably more like 3 than 6. And I actually highlighted that potential over here, boom and bust zones. That area 1 will probably be overdone because the precip probably won't be as heavy in that region, and we probably will not see the heaviest band set up in that area. I think those will probably set up in area 2, which will allow us to transition over to snow, which will allow us to see about 1 to 3 inches. If these bands stick around longer and we see them really, kind of formulate, then we could see forecast totals that are maybe on the upper end of my forecast. But that'll be something that we continue to track. So stay tuned here to JB Weather. I will continue to keep you updated with the latest information. I'll be here all morning here in the Storm Center. You can always get the latest information on Facebook or on Twitter or even on the website. Links are shown there. So stay tuned, and we'll continue to keep you updated. In the meantime, I'm Forecaster John Bordash, and have a nice and safe one.